Adam Popowitz was born and raised in New Westminster. He started playing guitar at 5, started his first band at 13, and at 21 signed a recording contract with Atlantic Records with his band Molly's Revenge. In 2000, he opened Rear Window Song and Sound on Burnaby Mountain and has since become a successful producer, mixer, and songwriter. In 2004, he helped create Pacifica, and the band has since released 3 albums, Unveiled, Ascension, and Super Magique. Super Magique was nominated for World Album of the Year at the 2011 Juno Awards and was named Best World Album of 2010 by iTunes. When Adam was feeling especially festive, he puts on his Santa hat and writes Christmas songs for the Roasted Chestnut Orchestra. Adam Popowitz.
That sounded too good to be true. 20 essential mistakes to make for a life in music. Good evening. It might be more accurate to say 20 mistakes for a life in rock and roll, but I think these can translate to most musical pursuits. Some of the images won't portray a specific blunder, but act more as a gentle reminder of what went wrong. This is yours truly at the age of 17, playing the Old Town Pump for the first time with my high school band, Big Bottom Swing. We were underaged. I call this the floral blouse mistake. If for some reason floral patterns for guitarists become popular, make sure you jump on the bandwagon just to be cool. You can also apply this mistake for mesh shirts and eyeliner, which I didn't learn with my next band, Molly's Revenge. We had some success in the 90s, as you heard. Here I am trying to fit in by looking pissed off and dangerous. I call this mistake, stab yourself in the eye with an eyeliner pencil just to look pissed off and dangerous. London Bridge Studio was my first big studio adventure. We made a record in the same studio that made many Seattle grunge records, including Pearl Jam's 10. Bands lived in the studio house, which had a hot tub. This mistake is, if you're in a hot tub in a Seattle band house whose previous tenants were Alice in Chains, just ignore the floating pubic hair. This receipt represents a sadly common mistake for musicians of all ages, the pursuit of your sound at all costs. I was so blinded by the new and shiny Vox AC30 that cost $1,000 that I foolishly handed over a 5150 stack that cost $2,000. The point is, if you want to get the best return on your gear, try and sell privately. Arizona, crazy beautiful. This is one of my favorite images from living in a van with 7 other humans for countless trips across North America. This mistake would be if you find yourself in a van with 7 others for 12 hours at a time, for months on end, feel free to ignore others' personal space. If only this photo could smell, oh yes. Why work with a drummer who is clean and responsible when you could work with one addicted to cocaine and who could smoke 5 joints at once? In all honesty, my friend Aggie was one of the best drummers I've ever played with, but when your vices turn into missing rehearsals and stealing money, you've made a mistake. I still love him. Booking your band for 5 nights at an airport hotel in the outskirts of Denver, remember Dave? Where the only place to eat is Denny's would be a mistake. Eating some sort of balanced diet on the road is very important. One bright spot would be, after about $20 in quarters, finally using the claw to capture a stuffed pink dog in a sailor suit. The floating head mistake. I'm still not sure why I thought this would look cool, but primarily this photo reminds me of our record label spending $100,000 on 5 different photo shoots. We begged them to use the cash to put us on the road where we could actually play our music, but they were hell-bent that we needed the right press shot. When your band's new single gets reviewed on Billboard, you should definitely believe that radio stations will take notice and consequently place your single in heavy rotation and thus creating your hit single. Or maybe they'll play it occasionally, or maybe just once. Or the truth is, generating radio success is exactly like picking winning lottery numbers. When the same song gets placed on a soundtrack starring a huge star like Kevin Costner, and that movie opens at #1, even though it sucks, you should now definitely believe that radio stations will take notice and consequently place your single in heavy rotation, thus creating your first single. Or not. My current band, Pacifica, this is our 2008 album, Ascension. At the time, we made a decision to work with a manager who lived on the other side of the Atlantic. We truly believed having an international presence would facilitate our dream of a European release. Turns out our biggest market was Canada, and our manager was too far away to be effective. Maybe the 100-mile rule should apply to music too. When your band's new album gets high praise in the Wall Street Journal, you should definitely believe that radio stations will take notice and consequently place your single heavy rotation. Maybe it's not a mistake to always believe. The next picture is a screenshot of what I stare at all day. This is what recording music looks like. Learning the software takes more than a minute. I remember my first attempts. Every day was one new mistake. Manuals in 1999 were not so user-friendly. They were in German. But when I solved each little recording mystery, I felt like I had landed on the moon. This is Linda, my invisible guitar. This guitar sounds fantastic, but at first I was so self-conscious about playing with a weird guitar that I mistakenly tried making body parts for her to make her whole. But in the end, I just had to love her the way she was made. The next picture is a session in my studio. Young bands who can scrap together some cash to record their first record should without question not rehearse their asses off and spend all their studio time working out their parts. But sincerely, unless you have money to burn, don't walk into a studio without being fully prepared. Our next album was in 2010, Super Magique. Shortly after being released, iTunes named it the Best World Album, and it was nominated for a Juno. What did our manager and agent do to capitalize on this momentum? They sat back and waited for opportunities to come along. Large mistake. This was a powerful lesson in Carpe Diem, seize the day. If you find yourself on a red carpet at the Junos and the temperature is -20 and there are no heaters anywhere in sight, absolutely leave any form of warm clothing in your room. It's way more photogenic when your teeth are chattering and your nose is dripping. It was really cold that day, that's all I remember. When you find yourself playing the Hollywood Bowl with Feist, getting the best picture of the marquee is essential. All you have to do is stop your van in the middle of the Hollywood freeway, creating a traffic jam. The cops love it. But to be honest, this was the best day of my performing life so far. The Hollywood Bowl is truly magical. Okay, I cheated. I blew 2 of my mistakes away on title cards. There's 18 essentially. All of these mistakes, some big and some small, are what guide every decision I make every day as a musician and producer. I encourage everyone here to embrace their mistakes.